90 to 92. The Gerry Ryan Show, Monday to Friday, 9 till 12 on 2FM.
Mary, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gerry.
We return to the story of the Keeper Road leprechaun of 1955.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I was born in 1955, as I told the girl, but I didn't actually see this leprechaun myself, but my dad did tell me, so that I was brought up in Germany. So it was kind of a urban legend there, right? And he said that when he went to see it, he was in a little, the swan matchboxes.
I do indeed. I remember them. They were big, long matches for lighting the gas.
Yeah, exactly. And he said when he saw it, he thought it was a twig. It was like, a piece of a branch. It had two little legs, two little arms, and a little kind of woody head. But he reckoned it was actually a twig that the lady had found. But he paid a sixpence in to see it anyway.
Sixpence? I know, I've been trying to work it out. Sixpence is probably about, it could be a tenner by today's standards, yeah.
And I wouldn't mind, he wasn't the most generous of men, so I don't think he would have actually, he must have really believed it when he went in to see it, but he was a bit disappointed in the German leprechaun.
He was disappointed, Mary, was he?
He was.
You mean it was a con job?
I think so.
Probably just a swan match.
Well, no.
Fashioned into the shape of a stick man.
I think it was a twig that she found. And maybe the lady believed it was a leprechaun herself. I don't know. But
now the stories that we're hearing this morning seem to feature not only my colleagues in the print media turning up for an audience with the miniature leprechaun, but also queues of people outside the house on Keeper Road, all presenting her with the sixpence to go in and have a look.
Well, time for her, Gerry, and you didn't have a lot to do, I mean, I remember getting my first television when I was 6, so that was in the 60s. So maybe leprechauns and boxes actually amused people.
They were, try telling the young people nowadays. I mean, I recall, I even wrote about this in my book. I remember we got an aerial on the house where we lived in one away Kincor Avenue. We got an aerial. My father bought an aerial. An aerial for picking up television signals. Yeah. We didn't have a telly now, mind you. So people used to come and stand in the back garden and they go, look, that's amazing now, Vincent, isn't it? He says, wait, yes, he says, that's going to be able to pick up Harlech television from Wales. You'll be able to pick up UTV from the north of Ireland and the BBC. RTE weren't on the air as a television station at that stage. That's how long ago it was. But people came from all around the Clontarf area to look at the aerial.
The aerial.
And then when the television came, it was like we had come up with 3D vision.
Well, that's
so I can well understand how the leprechaun of Keeper Road was such an attraction.
Well, he was actually an urban legend, because I was told it as a child, and I think lots of other kids around the area would have been told about him as well.
Yeah, were you afraid of him? Were you?
Well, no, I wasn't afraid.
Just thought I'd.
I have a grandson here. I wish he was afraid of him as well, though. Now I could tell him the story, but I don't think he believed me.
You're obviously doing some babysitting or some minding this morning, are you?
I am, yeah. Okay, minding my grandson.
Well done. All right, Mary. Good morning to you. That's a very young-sounding grandmother. Michelle, good morning.
Morning, Gerry.
Now, the blue and the pink list.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
No, you don't agree with it. You're not here to add to it. You're in fact simply here to denounce it.
Yes, because lots of us, I'm not the only one, have no choice but to do both sides of the list.
Both sides of the list?
Yeah.
So you shame us men?
Yes.
Because in fact there is no such thing as a blue list. It's all pink. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, what you said earlier about the rainbow list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, do you have a fella?
Oh, I do, yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's not there all the time, sure he's not?
No, he's no choice but to do his bit for his country.
Oh, no, he's in the army?
Yeah.
Where is he at the moment? Chad, is it?
Well, no, he's home at the moment. He's just back from Liberia.
From Liberia? Sure, that was great crack in Liberia, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah.
Absolutely.
Even better fun for us at home.
Yeah. So he came back with one of the toughest missions the army's ever faced, in fact, in Liberia. So when he comes home, does he do any of the blue jobs?
Oh, he does, yeah.
Does he really now, does he?
I have 2 helpers at home.
Well, the army train him well for some of the stuff that's on the list. There's no doubt about that. But I suppose when he comes home, he doesn't want anything to do about anything. He just wants to sit there and put his feet up.
No. He likes cutting the grass now.
Does he, good man?
Yeah.
And what else would he do?
He does a good lot now. He just doesn't do the nappies and the baby sort of area.
Wouldn't go near that. How many of them have you got?
I have 4 boys.
Good girl.
So I have 1 in nappies.
God, you've been busy, haven't you?
But definitely the nappies isn't his thing.
No. Oh, but that's, some fellas are just not made for, some women are not made for it either, for that matter.
Yeah. Well, there was one more thing on the list now, the spiders.
Spiders, yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with spiders at all.
None whatsoever.
No, frogs is my thing.
Frogs, you're afraid of frogs, are you?
I just don't like them, and especially when he was away, I had to unblock one of the drains.
And there was a frog in it?
Oh, it was full of them. Oh,
full of frogs?
Full of frogs and poo.
That's an unusual mixture in a drain, isn't it?
Well, it's, to do with the septic tank. Like, we live out the country, so...
So you have a septic tank, and the frogs have gone in there to spawn, had they?
Well, I don't know, they were in it, but...
And were they running around in the poo, the frogs?
Oh, I was too busy trying to unblock the blockage, I didn't care what the frogs were doing.
I'm with you on that, I don't like the sound. Were they alive?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were.
Barp, barp.
Oh, stop. Oh,
were they big, Michelle, were they?
They were, yeah.
And covered in poo?
Well, I didn't look too closely now. I had, for cleaning the chimney, them chimney rods.
Yeah.
And a big rubber glove, and I was trying to unblock it. So.
And were you successful, were you?
I was, yes.
Oh, mother of God.
So that's one of the blue jobs.
You should get a medal. Forget about giving the husband a medal for Liberia. You should get one for that.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, God, it sounds awful.
Well, we're not the only ones. Like, there's loads of women that have to do both.
Oh, no, I accept that. It kind of makes Liberia sound palatable. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Good morning.
I'd swap.
Good. I'm sure you
Good
would.
morning.
Yeah, poo and frogs. What a mixture. Carmel, good morning.
Good morning, Gerry.
All right, the list. Do you accept it's valid?
No. Not. I wouldn't say there's blue or pink in our house.
No.
But those ones that I mentioned, the painting and decorating and the flat pack furniture, I do those.
So you'll go to...
I go to Atlantic Home Care.
And you'll get the flat pack and you'll put it up.
Yeah.
And you'll do the painting.
And I'll do the painting and decorating.
And what does your man do?
Well, at the moment he's not working, so he does the cooking, he minds the child, and he does the homework with her and washing up. And so, no, I wouldn't agree that he does nothing. He doesn't.
No, he's doing his bit at the moment. When did he lose his job, Carmel, recently?
He lost his job last June.
What happened?
He was just made redundant. He was in a temporary position, so all the temporary people were let go last June. He was already on a 3-day week from March, and then they were let go in June, so he has been working since last June. So basically, I work 4 days a week, and I do very little in the house at the moment. He does most in the house.
And how's your own job looking?
Well, our hours have been cut as well at work, so at the moment, it's still there at the moment, but for how long, I don't know. Hopefully. I work in a shop, so you can't really tell. It's quiet at the moment, but you can't really tell with it,
Well, do you take any comfort in what the big European bankers are telling us, like Jean-Claude Trichet, the governor of the European Central Bank? They say that the upturn will start sometime over the next 9 months.
I don't know. I can't
believe it when I see it, says you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, aren't you blessed in a way that you've got that job? Thank God for it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And what's the husband's humour, Carmel?
Yeah, he gets fed up at times, but yeah, he'd be a laid back type of person anyway. Yeah. So he would. But at times he does feel that I'm doing most in the house at the moment because of working and bringing in the money, but I wouldn't say he's not depressed as such, but I'm sure he does feel that he'd rather be working. He's always
of course he
working,
would. Yeah, the dignity is, particularly for men. I think women have a much more diverse approach to this. Men sometimes define themselves, I've said this quite a lot recently, as a matter of fact, by their job. When you women are asked what you do, you give a very wide description of what it is. Men, when they're asked, go, well, I'm a plumber.
Yeah.
And that, when you take that away from them, it can be very, very damaging. All right, Carmel, I wish you the very best of luck.
Okay, I know. I started talking about a blue and pink list and ended up talking about redundancy, but
sure, that's life, isn't it?
That,
isn't that life? All right. God bless you. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Gerry.
2FM. Afternoons on 2FM, kicking off at midday with Nikki Hayes and her all-request lunch. That's 120 minutes of your music. You choose, we obey, and play. Be in with a chance of winning the biggest prizes on radio. Then at 2 p.m., Ricochet perks up your day with a box full of afternoon delights. Interviews from the biggest stars and bizarre topics to keep your brain in motion. Afternoons on 2FM. You work, we play.
Back to the Leprechaun of Keeper Road, Drimna. Eddie, good morning.
Hello, Gerry. How are you?
Eddie, the year was 1955. The leprechaun was on display, a tiny little midget leprechaun. In fact, whatever way below midget actually is. He lived in a Swan matchbox and he was on display for sixpence a look back in 1955. I heard a lot of stories about him yesterday. You were born in 1938, just before the Second World War.
That's correct, yeah, September.
You would have been 15 or 16 at the time of the Keeper Road experience. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, we heard about it. We were playing up Messenden. There used to be a place called Brickfield.
Brickfield?
Yeah, all the slates were there, the quarry.
Yeah.
And that's where Rafters Road is and all like that now. The houses weren't built then.
No.
So we all heard about that. There was a leprechaun down on Keeper Road. So we all charged down. It was after school, you know. And we went, it was down in the cul-de-sac on the right-hand side. And everyone was saying it was a penny to see it. So as far as I can remember, it's a parlour house. That means the parlour's out to the front of the house.
Yeah.
And we didn't go in, we were looking in the window.
Trying to get a gawk for free.
Yeah, big crowd all trying to go up the avenue and everyone saying, go and see the leprechaun and all this. So it was a penny. So after it died down, after a week or so, we heard it was a mushroom. I think it was in the Evening Mail.
It was a mushroom?
Yeah, it was a mushroom. You were supposed to find a mushroom up the park.
And did you see it?
I looked in the window, not near it, no. And we seen it was a brownish colour.
You probably couldn't afford a penny.
Barely a penny, yeah. A farden probably. 4 fardens in the penny.
And was she doing good business, the woman who owned the leprechaun?
No, there wasn't all that many because people hadn't got the money. There was a big crowd going in and people just trying to get up. It was more, everyone was excited over the thing.
Can you remember her name, this lady?
No, I didn't know because I lived up the other end at Slavemore Road. That's where Our Lady's Hospital for sick children is.
But so definitely people were going up to this house and keep it
yeah, because there's a cul-de-sac and you couldn't get up. It was chock-a-block. We had to jump over a few railings and that to go up to see it. It was on the right-hand side. I remember that as well as anything, you know.
And tell me this, Eddie, Ireland in 1955, what was it like?
It was very hard work. I went over to work in Sheffield in 1956 and I was in the FCA. I didn't tell my mother about it. She was out working. My father died when I was sick. So I was up in the FCA, but I told a lie and I was after doing 2 weeks down in Kilkenny and we got £10. So I got the boat that night and I went over to Sheffield. 2 of my friends were there and I told my sister not to tell my mother until the boat was gone. So that's how hard it was. And I used to worked in the steel mills and then it was 6 to 2, 2 to 10, 10 to 6.
Yeah.
But there's no such thing as an hour's overtime. So we went in at 6 in the morning to work at 10 at night. And he didn't go home at 11, so he had to be up then at 5 next morning to go to 6. And I ended up with 2 ulcers after I had my stomach taken away. And it was from that. So it was very hard.
How old were you when you were working in the steel mills?
Well, I started working as a messenger boy up from that. I went to work at 6 years of age. My father died when I was 6, and I got a man up the road worked in Luke and Dairies. And he used to have carts that time, and like chariots.
Yeah.
And then we used to put all the milk crates in it, and then we started up in Park A Street and done all up around Drimna there and that, and then you'd start for school at 8 o'clock. Well, you go home at 8 and then you go into school for 9. And then you used to be half asleep, then the master would throw the duster at me, say O'Reilly, or Rahally then in Irish.
To wake you up.
To wake you up on the thing. Yeah. And then I come home then and then sell sticks then at the time around Raffle Road. Because they were building the houses on Rafters Road, and we used to get the odd wood off it and chop them up with sticks and sell the bundles of sticks for a penny a bundle.
I know the way everybody's complaining at the
Complaining
moment.
about.
You know, it's dreadful. And
I was going to ring you then last week.
I mean,
You
was
talked
it
about-
worse or the same or better?
Oh, it was worse because you used to pawn your shoes and everything. And then you didn't have your suit every Sunday because it was in the pawn and you were afraid to go out because you're in your old clothes. I actually have a photograph here of my sister taking in the front garden.
Yeah.
And it cost 2 shillings and my mother nearly got sick the week out and they came back with that photograph still here. And they won't see me in it, me and my sister.
And what was it like in Sheffield? I mean, did you have any
Very
kind of a
hard
life
working.
outside the steel mills?
It was very hard work, yeah.
Yeah.
A place called Atcliffe down
Yeah.
Don Road. And we were all the men that came back from the war. You know, there's only the 10 years on the difference. And you're terrific men because there's great respect for the Irishmen that fought in the war.
And were you in digs with a bunch of other Irish
I was in
fellas?
digs with one another fella, Vincent Candy, he's dead
Yeah.
now. Friend of mine.
And you cooked and looked after yourselves?
Oh,
and-
no, we had a landlady, she was
Did
very
you?
good.
Well, you were blessed then, weren't you?
Yeah, we had a landlady.
So you'd come home for your tea?
You come home, you come home, we'd say at 2 o'clock, we weren't working overtime.
Yeah.
And then it was the first time we went in to see the film there, Calamity Jane.
Calamity Jane.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a big film. And I think the other one was The Enemy Below.
The Enemy
Submarine
Below,
thing.
which was a great submarine movie. I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that, as a matter of fact. You can get it on DVD.
Yeah, that was very good.
Was John
yeah.
Mills in that, was he? I think he might have
No.
been. Was it? Who was it?
Oh, God, I think now in a minute. Oh, I can't go. I was going to ring you then the other last week when they were talking about the cruelty. Do
Yeah.
you remember doing on that?
Yes, indeed I do, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ring, but can I say a name now? The factory is gone.
Yes, of course.
I worked in Donnelly's at Cork Street then
Yeah.
in 57, from 57 up to 1966.
Yeah.
But you used to have to kill 128 pigs an hour to get half a crown bonus. The wage was £6 8 shillings, which was good.
Yeah.
But you used to have to kill 128 pigs an hour. That's if you were sticking them. It's called that you stick.
Yeah.
But we didn't use the humane killer because it was too slow.
Yeah.
So you used to have to shackle them and then you come upside down. And then you used to just cut their throat. That you didn't use the humane killer. And then they pushed them down the bar and then they used to drop them into a tank of scalding water. And then if the pig wouldn't bend his, he used to put his head down, like you say, you put your chin to your chest.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want the knife to go in. He started to do it. You just cut a little piece off his ear. And when you do that, then you cut his throat. You do that, and you cut his throat and push him down.
That must have been a bizarre place to work.
Yeah, it was a big crew on, and then
Blood everywhere and screaming
blood,
and
yeah, and then-
squealing. And
the blood used to go down into a barrel down like a drain thing.
that you made black pudding out of
They
that.
made the black pudding, yeah, and put the fat. But what the most peculiar thing about it, the thing used to go with black pudding.
Yeah.
But when the pig would come down to where the vets would check the thing for TB and all different things like that, you could hear the pig and it'd be condemned for having TB, but the blood still went into the black pudding.
Oh my God.
Shortly now.
So you got it whatever way.
Yeah, whatever way it went, and you know.
How long did you work in Sheffield for, Eddie?
I worked for Sheffield just for a little over a year.
Yeah.
And I came back then, you see, I came back then, it was around March. I think it was for around the Patrick's weekend, and myself and Vincent Kennedy were walking down Cork Street, and there was about over 100 people queuing up for a job. And I got on the queue with him, and then we we were all interviewed by Stephen O'Mara. He was there, the O'Mara's from Limerick and that.
Yeah.
And he interviewed me, and he asked me circumstances. I said, what was nearly telling me my life story, and he said, my father died, he was 33. He came home from work at 5, and he said at 8 o'clock, burst appendix, peritonitis. And my sister Aileen, she's dead now, she died last year in Canada, she was 7. I was 6, Marty was 4, and Hardy was 3 months, July, August, September. No, Hardy was 5 months old.
Yeah.
So that was it. Ever since that, I left school then, didn't even do my primary, you know.
Did you get the job that day, did you?
Yeah, I got the job, and I was there for 10 years. 10 years. Then I left then, and the manager used to be there. He opened up his own factory in Crumlin, O'Neill's Gleepore Products. And I went up there as a butcher with him, and then his brother took holidays, and I went out in the van one day, and I built up a whole new round. And I was able to explain to the shopkeepers that I knew all about the butchering. So I started selling the meat, and I built up a terrific... his wife is still alive now, Evelyn. And it was a lovely place to work for.
Fascinating story, Eddie.
And
Did
that
you know
went
that?
bankrupt then, and after I was there for 28 years, I only got £4,000 redundancy.
That was a lot.
Yeah, I know £4,000, that was only 2008, 202.
Oh, well, it wasn't that much then.
No, so I kept the van then, and I done a business on my own then.
And are you still working, Eddie, are you?
Well, I done then, I kept the van, done my business on my own, so like things is happening now and it's paying self-employed, so I wasn't entitled to any social welfare after all the years my stamps. So I decided to take a job in Thrifty Motors as a courtesy bus driver to get my full employment pension. So I done that, and I retired there 5 years ago.
Okay. Well,
so I do a bit of part-time job now as a
Well, it
chauffeur.
sounds like you're doing well, Eddie. It's been lovely speaking to you.
Yeah, I have 8 daughters and 9 granddaughters and 6 grandsons.
What a fantastic life story. Well done, Eddie. Good morning to you.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Not
Bye-bye.
at all. No, thank you for taking the time to tell us your story. And a very interesting one at that.
Yeah, thank you.
God bless.
Bye-bye, thanks.
There you go. Wow. Really, it's when you hear stuff like that you realise we've been there before. Can you imagine what it was like? 15 years of age, gone off to the steel mills in Sheffield, working basically all day and all night.
Hello?
Hello.
It's Mr. Gaffier's
Gaffier's
aunt from Ireland. Yes.
Apologies, ma'am. I will not believe what your nephew has done.
You
I found him stopping the delivery to Kenco. He didn't understand they use the same high-quality Arabica beans in their instant coffee as in their roast and ground to ensure a fantastic taste. If only your nephew shared your knowledge, ma'am. And your timing.
Kenco. Coffee without compromise.
TV licence, Inspector.
This is our holiday home.
Still, you need a separate licence for the TV here.
We don't have a TV. We're very outdoorsy, you know. Hill walking, canoeing, sky gliding, surfboarding.
Wow, sounds great.
Oh, yeah, good to get away, you know yourself.
And if it rains?
We pretty much stay in and watch TV.
Damn.
TV licence inspectors visit 18,000 homes, holiday homes and businesses every month. We've heard all the excuses and none of them work. Now you can pay online at tvlicense.ie, at the post office or local 1890 228 528.
90 to 92.
Living the life, loving the music.
2FM. National 2FM.
Do you know I was chased out of? I was chased out of.
Really dead,
No, he's not dead. No, the Lizard King lives. I was chased out of Père Lachaise in Paris, where I went after I'd had a few drinks with a fella called Willie O'Reilly, and we went to go see the Lizard King's grave because we knew he was not in it.
Yeah.
So when we got there was a bunch of people praying.
As there always is.
Yeah, as there always is.
There,
Oscar Wilde is very close by there. Right. And so we arrived down and we started doing a little bit of praying with them. And then the other fella that was with me was going to borrow something from the grave as a memento. Well, but they chased us.
Today FM. Yeah.
Yeah, they chased us. They chased us.
It's a bit mad, isn't it, that whole thing? I was there years ago and there were kind of people lighting candles and in French and English doing these kind of mantras and stuff, and it was all a bit mad.
But we've had Ray Manzarek, the keyboard player, here in the studio.
I loved The Doors, by the way.
So
absolutely
did I.
loved
Riders on the Storm, which was always translated in secondary school into Riders on the Horn, which
Very
we
good.
thought was absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
Now, but he was Ray Manzarek was sitting exactly where you were sitting because he had kind of gotten the Doors back together again with one minor thing missing, Jim Morrison. And he was absolutely delighted when I told him that I didn't believe that Jim Morrison was dead and he wasn't in the grave.
Does he not believe it either?
No, in fact he's made certain applications to the Parisian Graves Authority or somebody of that nature to try and have it opened up so to prove.
I was consumed by Jim Morrison when I was a teenager, and I knew absolutely everything about him, and I had all his poetry books. I was really into his poetry, which is quite kind of out there and a bit sort of
shamanistic.
Yeah,
shamanistic, as I've been told. It's
to be honest with you, but I quite liked it at the time, and because I was, because you're young and you're going through a phrase, as
and he was gorgeous.
He was sex in leather trousers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, alarmingly sexy. I mean, should have come with a health warning. But I became really interested with this thing that I've millions of books on the Doors, and one of them had a picture taken of him during the recording of LA Woman, which was like about 3 years before he died, and he had the beard and he was very heavy.
That's Riders on the Storms from LA Woman, isn't it?
No, Riders on the Storm is from Riders on the Storm.
Is it?
Yeah, there's an album Riders on the Storm, isn't there? It's kind of a grey cover.
Help us out there, help us.
Anyway, So there's this picture of him, and you're looking, and he's about 25 in it, and he's very heavy, and he's obviously on the old drugs and stuff, and you're going, yeah, sure, he couldn't have had long to go. But there's a little scene picture of him taken in Paris a couple of weeks before he died, and he's back to prime sexiness. And you're going, well, hang on, if he'd lost the weight and got clean, how come he died then? And of course, the death cert, as you know, was always dodgy.
If he meant to have died in the bath of a heart attack.
Yeah. No, died in the bath of a friend.
Died of a friend.
The bath of a friend.
Oh, sorry. That was the girlfriend's bath, wasn't
it? What was her name?
Pamela DeBarry's? No.
No, she was someone else.
She was a prostitute, sorry.
No, she wasn't a prostitute.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
She was a groupie. I've met her.
Sorry, groupie. Have you?
I have, yeah. She's very funny. Pamela somebody or other. Portrayed in the film by Meg Ryan.
Yeah, and portrayed very well by Meg Ryan. In fact, what's his name?
Now. Pamela is
Val
dead.
Kilmer, he played, didn't he play?
Yeah, I thought he was good.
Oh, more than good.
Yeah, I loved that film. Absolutely panned by the critics. Oliver Stone, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Oh,
Let's have a bit of Doors before the end of the programme.
Yeah, let's get some Doors for us, will you? Oh, yeah. Now.
There's a really sexy Doors song called The Crystal Ship. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very sexy. Play that one for me.
The young people might find that difficult to access, Fiona, but we'll get it anyway.
It'll be up there on a gramophone record somewhere. Right, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, imagine there are people now young enough on this programme who've actually never played an old-fashioned vinyl record.
Yeah.
Gosh.
We were talking the other night about reel-to-reel tape recorders.
Oh, yeah.
We've a reel-to-reel tape recorder in our home.
Of course
belonged to my husband, obviously, not to me. Which we've just lent. Which my husband has just lent to the lovely Mr. Lorcan Cranach, star of October, finishing on Saturday in the Olympia.
Actor.
Very talented actor. Because he has some reel-to-reel stuff that he wants to listen back to and convert, and it's stuff that his father made. And we ended up having a conversation about kind of, reel-to-reel tape and sort of how incredibly old-fashioned it is. And I had to remind the lovely Pauline McGlynn, also starring in October, that the first series that Pauline and I ever recorded together for radio was done in reel-to-reel tape.
Well, that's I have to tell you, I have something even older, featuring my mother and father doing comedy sketches, and indeed me gurgling as a child. The Chicago Webster wire recorder.
Wow, what's that?
It's it's metal wire.
Yeah.
And that's what the recording was on.
So it's like a crystal set, kind of.
It's just amazing.
And can you play it back?
Yeah, of course you can play it back.
But you have to play it on
I had it refurbished.
particular...
Actually, some of the engineers here in RT put me in touch with the Irish Wireless Society, who turned out to be absolutely the most unusual but brilliant people I've ever met. And I had an R11100 radio from a Lancaster bomber that my dad had left it. They refurbished that. That's working again. And they refurbished the Chicago Webster wire recorder. And the wire, the actual yokes that the sound is on are like fishing line. And you put that on, it loops through a little sort of magnetic head and then gets spooled onto a big take-up thing and pressed it, and out of the past, from like 50-something years ago, came this sound of my father and my mother. I'd never heard it. And my father doing this sketch with my mother.
Oh, brilliant.
Interviewing her. It was absolutely stunning and somewhat emotional. As a matter of fact,
yeah.
I think I could cry. Right, okay. Let's just slap ourselves and come back to the normality of light entertainment.
Or Ellie, as we call it.
As we used to call it. Still got it, then don't flaunt it. That seems to be the message to shoppers during the credit crunch. If you must pay oodles of cash for those to die for shoes, then at least take them home in a plain brown paper bag.
Or make them, alternatively.
Or make them, make them yourself at home. Make manolas, why not? Everybody does. In fact, many people are now feeling so guilty about spending in a recession that they've started to lie about it. Fiona Looney's in studio. Well, she's never spent, so Fiona Looney's in studio to tell us about a very up-to-the-minute new trend, guilt shopping.
I'm going the other way, actually.
Which is basically economic masturbation.
Yeah. I had to cancel a cheque the other day.
My God, that'll be in the papers tomorrow.
Because my mother has lost it. And I had to redraw. So I was going through my checkbook because, we have to find the number of the cheque that has to be cancelled.
Always handy.
And I ended up going back through. I had about 8 cheques in this particular checkbook. And I was reading the stubs. And I swear to God, it is the most depressing checkbook in history, right? Basically, it starts with drains €240 because we had a drain problem. Car service, whatever, €240.
You got off light.
Orthodontist, $4,500. Right now, then.
Is that for one of the children?
That's for she's having her braces fitted right now as we speak. In fact, if they do have the radio on in the orthodontist.
Which one's she going to?
She's going to one in Fortfield.
Okay.
Catherine Condren is very good. Well, I presume she is. Haven't seen them
We
yet.
should become orthodontists, shouldn't we?
Should we?
Well,
yeah.
it seems to be.
$4,500 a throw.
Yeah.
Bloody right, yeah. Make up that 10% in no time.
Thank you. Get my white coat, will you?
No more bus fare for me. Oh, yes, we'll be on the limo. But anyway, so orthodontist. Then dad's funeral, €1,500. And then a cheque for catering for dad's funeral, €400. And then there was another one, piano lessons. And it was just the bleakest chequebook in history. So I just got a cheque and tore it out and tore it up. But on the cheque stub I just wrote, Prada handbag, €4,000. Just so that when I look back
and even just imagining it made you feel good.
It did a bit, yeah.
Here's an emergency text I'm going to read out. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Gerry, could you do me a big favour, a huge favour? Myself and my partner are on our way to the maternity hospital. I'm in labour with our second baby. All I've heard since I got into the car is how much of a bad sleep my partner got last night and how he's got a pain in his head. Could you tell him to shut up and drive? I'm in labour and in pain. I'm having a baby and I can't get a word in edgeways. Linda from Limerick.
Good woman, Linda. And yet managing to send a text like that. Well done.
That's a
second baby for you.
That's a multi-skilling female mind.
And get her there awfully fast,
Yep.
partner of Linda, because they
Yep.
shoot out those second ones.
Vroom.
Fly out.
Vroom.
God almighty.
Vroom.
Best of luck with
Baby's
that.
head coming
that's
into
lovely, isn't it?
baby's shoulders. Wow.
Let us know how that works.
Baby's
out for you.
head. I always used to find that. Baby's head. You go, what? What do you mean by that? Is there just a head?
I remember when I was in labour on my second child, my brother-in-law came over to the house.
Maybe this
to
would be a
mind.
good time for them to switch off the radio in that car.
No, in the early stages. My brother-in-law came over to mind our eldest, to mind the baby, while Steve brought me to the hospital. And there wasn't any huge urgency, but I was in labour and it's kind of getting worse. And Jeff came over and I watched Steve and Jeff sitting there having a really, really dull conversation about coffee, about whether, I think if you get the ground coffee and if you try putting that into a percolator rather than grinding the beans yourself, and then like one of them would go, Colombian or Java? And I'm there just going, I'm in feckin' labour here. Can we just not talk? And it was like being an episode of Frasier. And anyway.
With Niles and himself.
Who
always misunderstood the pain of others.
My son is doing a project on, we will get to the item eventually, sorry, I have loads to tell you obviously. My son is doing a project on the universe at the moment.
That's fairly broad, isn't it?
It is quite broad. I thought he should narrow it down a bit, but no. And it's brilliant actually, because his introduction, he says, because I chose this project is because I'm always looking out the window, looking at the constellations and wondering. Well, what a
brilliant, what a philosophical start.
But then
Actually,
the very first thing he has is he drew a picture of a man in a spacesuit, and underneath he has written Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. So we were trying to think if he's going to just Irishify everything to do with it. Neil Armstrong.
I was talking about school projects the other day with the kids, and my eldest fella, young Rex Ryan, 19 years of age, in college at the moment, didn't seem to be quite paying complete attention to the discussion. Projects was coming up and the girls were talking about what they did and how much effort they put in. And Rex remembered back to a project that he did that I gave him some assistance on. The two of us worked on it together, which was the Normandy landings during the Second World War. Now, this was an amazing project. He did a fantastic project. And at one point he just said to his sisters, he said, oh, yeah. This is when he was like about 8, right? He said, that was so good, that project, that, I could use that in college now. They just looked at him and they went, what? And I just thought, the difference between boys and girls, because it wasn't a joke.
I ended up, I promise, it's the last thing I'm going to tell you about my week. My eldest girl, she had there was a short story competition in school about 2 weeks ago, and she completely misunderstood the brief. She completely misread it, and they had to follow a chain of a story in their workbook, and they had to do it in 3 pages. And basically, Ciara wrote about 5 pages and was still on the first point of the story. And there was a lot of tears, and it was very late, and you know.
And you were not. You'd 7 points to go.
It was disaster. And I said to her, "Look, I said I will finish. I will tell you how to finish this story. We'll get out of it very quickly." And she went, "But I really wanted to win the competition." I said, "You cannot win the competition.
You can only get to the end of the story. That's all you can do.
You've already broken the brief. You've already not followed it. Let's just get out of this story now." And I dictated about 8 sentences to her. And she wrote them down, like literally word by word as I dictated them. We got to the end of the story and she got to bed and we said, "We'll never speak of it again." She came home yesterday. She said, "Do you remember that competition for the short story?" She said, "Do you remember? And you made up the story." I said, "Yeah." She said, "I won." I went, "Shite. I've won a competition in 6th class." And she said, "Do you want the prize?" I said, "What is it?" She said, "A homework voucher." I said, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah, why not?
Right.
Was it good, the end of the story?
No,
was it?
it was terrible. It was just a way to get, tick off all the boxes. But obviously being a playwright of some renown, I was gifted in that department.
Gee, what a cheat. My mother, the playwright, finished me homework for me.
And I
Back
won
in a
the
minute.
story.
2FM.
I've absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I forget. Guilt shopping, recession shopping. People have resorted, apparently, according to a number of surveys, stop the tapping.
Oh, sorry.
People have resorted to lying about how much they're spending. 1 in 10 in a survey done last week admitted that they lied to their partners about how much they're spending. No, sorry. 38% admit to feeling guilty and 50%.
Are you doing breast self-examination?
Yeah, sorry,
there?
I do that. It's a stress thing. I do that all the time now. I have to stop doing it.
No, it's a good opportunity
always
for
that
us
as
to
well.
say, ladies, Fiona's a perfect example. We were talking about testicular examination earlier on. I could do that while this item is on. And she is doing breast examination while the item is on. There's no reason why you can't take care of your health. Isn't that right?
I only ever examine one of them.
Yeah, that's don't follow Fiona's protocols
dear.
to the letter, because you have 2 breasts and it's probably a good idea to examine them both.
See, one of mine's bigger than the other, so it's kind of more comforting to examine that one. 38% admit to feeling guilty about something, and 50% say they lied to their partners about what they're spending. Now, this is a new survey. However, I would put it to the ladies of Ireland that at least 50% of women have always lied to their partners about what they're spending.
At
if
least
not
50%,
on
I'd say a lot
clothes,
more than that.
then certainly on their hair. You know about this, women on the hairdressers?
Give me the hair
Women
truth.
will never, ever, doesn't matter how solid, trustworthy, reliable, calm your marriage is, women will never tell their husbands how much they spend on their hair.
Why is that?
Because it's astronomical. That's why. And because men go to the barber and come back and say, that was €12, it's gone up, maybe I won't go anymore. And women are there going, oh Jesus. Because, just to walk across the threshold of the hairdressers costs a ridiculous amount of money. To actually get anything done is astronomical. But I am part of the Sisterhood of Silence on that. So I will not be bandying figures around this studio, Gerry.
Well done. Nothing could make you do it. Not even the Chinese water torture.
Not even Chinese water torture. Though the ladies will know that I speak the truth. That hair is awful dear. Ladies' hair. And there's no reason for it really, is there?
Well, I think it's to do with market forces, isn't it? And
Is it?
The ladies really need their hair done. Men don't necessarily, though the younger chaps do seem to be more interested in it than my generation were.
Your younger chap at the moment, as far as I can gather, favours a longer style, frequently with colour involved. Now, is that the same price as a lady with longer style?
No, he's gone off that now. That's all finished. This is the thing that they all used to do over the last 5 years when school would end. They would immediately get their hair bleached.
Yeah.
So the entire...
Do they do that themselves or would they get it
No,
done?
mostly done themselves,
Yeah.
resulting in some pretty bizarre results. Also resulting in people like the United States Customs and Immigration Authority saying, what do you think you're doing?
You're so not coming into my country. You get your hair cut, mister.
Well, of course, that, in fairness, if I'm honest, I set them up to say that to your man. I remember one year, I said, tell him that this could go against him when he's going into the country. Might stop him doing it in future. And they did, and he was absolutely transfixed.
But if a young lad gets his hair done properly, like in a salon, does it cost the same now?
Not at all, no.
That's terrible, isn't it?
So as a lady.
Yeah, like even if it's fundamentally the same kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like, a bit of a trim and a
No.
highlight.
I mean, obviously, if you're going for your Spandau ballet style arrangement, which some fellas do, that's going to cost a lot of money. But I think for most fellas, because shortish hair is
Yeah.
kind of pretty much the style.
Is it?
Yeah.
You see, I'm seeing young fellas with longer hair.
Oh no, there are the longer-haired
Yeah.
young fellas. These are the macrobiotic boys and girls. The macrobiotic boys whose mothers generally come from a section of society where they favour the Neil Young look, and they have imposed that upon their sons. They get away with that until he's about 15, and then he turns into a psychopath.
And then what
rebels.
happens is their school principal says, cut your hair, and the mother goes, no, let's just sue the school and get loads of money.
Yeah,
and call
that
it now."
worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that worked.
And don't do that, by the way. It's not big, it's not clever. Now, 54% feel it's insensitive to talk about money at the moment. Jesus, I hope they're not listening.
Well, that's
to
all
this.
that we talk about, though. I mean, that is literally... I wake up at 7 o'clock, right, with the good morning, right, and the first thing that comes out of the radio is money.
Or the lack
of it.
I was in Super Value this morning. I should so get a job for Super Value because I constantly plug them on this programme. They have.
You should get a job in Super Value.
I'd love a job in Super Value.
Yeah, you'd be
Bloody
good.
hell, I'd love to work in Super Value.
Would you?
The Super Value down the road from us, like it's just the least stressful
What is it, the
job
outfit?
in the world.
Is it?
The what?
The outfit.
I like the outfit, yeah. Nice warm gansy. But you just spend the time just talking to the neighbours and you kind of carry on the same conversation all day but with different people, you know, who come up to the till. The very good deal on at the moment, which I availed of this morning, you can get, I got a bit of round roast, which I don't usually do the round roast, but it was a nice looking bit of round roast. A round roast for the whole family, a bag of potatoes, like a 1.5 kilogram bag of potatoes, and a kilogram bag of carrots. How much was that? Round roast that'll feed 5, bag of carrots and a bag of potatoes. How much did it cost?
30-something euros.
€6.54.
Good God.
That's half price round roast, and the potatoes and carrots.
That's less
thrown
than
in
a cod
free.
and chips.
Yeah. It's not cooked now, obviously.
No, obviously you're
cooked.
going to have to use electricity and brain
Yeah.
power
Very
to
good deal.
bring it to the table.
Yeah. That's what they have.
How
in
big
Super
is the
Value.
round roast, though?
It's not massive, like it'll feed the 5 of us, but like
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to be starving. Be about 1 kilo and a little bit.
And a bag of potatoes, and what
Bag
else?
of potatoes and a bag of carrots.
That's
Not
extremely
very good. That's very good.
For
And that's
6-something
available till
euros.
Saturday, I think, in Super Value nationwide.
Well done.
Crate of Wally's Hut for me. I
Yep.
say that every week, never get it.
Here's a response.
Yeah.
I get my hair cut and coloured every 8 weeks. It costs me €80. My partner knows how much it costs, as I need to put away €10 a week in the kitty. This is the only way I could afford it, says Tyra. My ex-husband told me when I was in labour. This has nothing to do with anything, but I'll read it anyway. My ex-husband told me, it's the ex-husband, told me when I was in labour that if I didn't stop acting like a 2-year-old, he was going home. Whoa! Braver. What? Ex-husband.
Yeah, quite right.
I'm a
too.
taxi driver. A few weeks ago, I was sitting outside Hollow Street waiting on a doctor when a car drove into me. I got out all calm to see what the FUCK had happened. When the bloke just ran out and got into a panic, his wife was giving birth in the back seat. Poor man was in a panic and never saw me, and that's how he crashed into me. God.
Well,
Good
when he gets
story.
the bill for that, he'll know
You could
all
write a
about
musical about that.
Apparently,
See, they've written a musical about Michael Collins starting soon.
Yeah, there's a 1916 musical. Is there one about Michael Collins as well?
Yeah, I think it's Michael Collins, a
Yeah.
musical drama. It's in drama. Michael Collins, a musical drama.
Yeah, I could have written that. A rich theme of drama. So apparently what people are now doing is they're asking for plain packaging for fancy items. Believe it or not. I'm going to give you
What's a
list of the
fancy
shops.
item? Give me a hint of
Well,
what that might be.
Net-a-Porter.com, which you'll be familiar with from upstairs. Your ladies are constantly on Net-a-Porter. Constantly. They get no work done here. Net-a-Porter. Maybe that's what Colgone should be looking at. God, I'm going to get into terrible trouble when I go back upstairs. No, that is absolutely not true. I asked one day in here what Net-a-Porter was. 'Cause I'd heard about it.
are always at
and I was shown
not
what
the
it
Gerry
was.
Ryan show.
It's a designer website where you can buy clothes, but apparently now
What does it mean, Net-a-Porter?
it's ready to go.
Ready
isn't
to
it?
carry, ready to take away, yeah.
Anyway, you can now request discreet packaging, whereby orders are delivered in plain brown paper bags.
Like vibrators
Like
and
vibrators,
things
exactly.
like that, yeah.
You can also, Tiffany, Hermes and Chanel are now stocking plain brown paper bags. So if you don't want
Copy
to be...
with the days during the ostentatious times. That's
Yeah,
what I now
where
refer
you
to.
only wanted the bag.
Where all you wanted was the bag.
Yeah, I know. And now you can ask for shamefaced shoppers, apparently, you can get plain unbranded paper bags. I was in that Tiffany place in Brown Thomas at Christmas. Bloody hell, that's dear.
Yeah, did
very
you buy
dear.
stuff?
Me, you mad?
Back in a minute.
Afford the bag.
2FM.
Welcome back. Fantastic item at the moment here. Fiona Looney's in studio.
It's a recession beating
a
item.
recession buster. Here's a text from 51552. I'm a man. I got my haircut in a salon in Kilkenny and it cost €12, Alan says. Gerry, my hair costs 115 euros every 8 weeks. I'd say that's about right, isn't it? Hubby thinks it's 50. He'll go mad when he finds out.
Yeah.
Well,
that's kind of the level of it, yeah. And obviously she hasn't identified herself.
No, which is
I have
wise.
to say I've paid more than that.
What's the most you've ever paid?
On my hair?
Yeah.
I think I got close to the old 200 mark on one occasion or two occasions.
And when you were finished, did you go, woo, gosh, that's fantastic?
No, I never do that in the hairdressers, but I really like having my hair done. That's the thing. I just it's my only little kind of
I like it
indulgence.
too as well. But I mean, I
love having people messing with my
I
head.
do too.
In
I
an
have two different
external
hair
way.
experiences. One of them is in Zoo, the other one's in the Shelbourne Barber, and they're two quite different experiences, but two equally pleasurable. I think it's one of the most relaxing. Getting whatever done is just, it's first of all, you feel safe from the rest of the world.
Getting your hair blow dried. You see, obviously not having ladies' hair, you wouldn't really have experienced this. When you've got long hair and they blow dry it, sometimes I have had occasions where I've got my hair blow dried and I actually didn't care what it looked like at the end. I just wanted to have the experience of having somebody brush my hair with heat. And it was just lovely. Oh, yeah, I love that.
But in the pre-recession days, some places used to
good
also give you a
old
little
days.
massage as well.
They would. You don't get that now.
You
You
don't
get
get
a
that
box
now.
in the face now. Kick up the arse. That's all you'll get now.
Kick up the arse, box in the face.
Taking labels off new clothes and wearing them home. Not the labels, obviously, the clothes. This is a kind of a grown-up version of, when you're a teenager, you don't. The ladies will know when they're teenagers and you're going to the disco and your mother's going, you're not going out looking like that. So you change your clothes and then you bring the other clothes in the bag.
And you change in a bush shelter.
Yeah, and we put them, do that whole thing. Except that sometimes then you forget to change back again.
And sometimes you don't have to go to a bush shelter because you go to your friend's house whose mother likes to socialise with the teenagers and have a little drink with them and doesn't care what they look like when they go out. There's always one family like that, isn't there, in every group? We go down to Mary's, her ma's pissed all the time.
Yeah, we were tragically I think I can identify who it is in my kids' social circle. Tragically, when we were teenagers growing up in a proper recession, we knew what a recession was back then. The trick was the soda stream. Do you remember the soda streams?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And what you do was you would just take like the thimbleful of drink from every bottle in the cabinet so that the mother wouldn't notice into the soda stream, lash a bit of carbon into it so that it would be fizzy and palatable, and then throw it into cans of Coke and off we go to the disco with the Dolly mixture, as it was called.
Well, no, our sort of weapon of choice was tragically Buckfast, and it really
in a field.
No, just while you were walking up to Club 74 or whatever it happened to be.
The good old
and
days.
it just, all it did was make you get very violently ill.
Yeah.
Which left you not with much options because you smelt and looked horrible. And women, we still hadn't discovered, didn't actually go for that look. Dave, put on your headphones there, Fiona. Dave the Barber, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Gerry?
How are you? You're going to be able to tell us what gentlemen are getting at the moment in the barbers.
Well, yes. Actually, the most popular cut is called the V cut or the Binny mullet, which basically is cut up the sides, a V to the back, and blonde highlights throughout.
And blonde highlights throughout. How long would that take, and how often would it need to be done?
Well, it depends on the hair, how fast it grows, and certainly it depends on the person. It would take, we've it narrowed down to about 30 minutes. Get them in and get them out in about 30 minutes.
You could do highlights and all in 30 minutes?
Yes, we can, yeah.
And how much are the highlights for the boys?
It starts from €28 to 50.
See, I don't think a woman could get highlights for €28 anywhere.
Well, you see, you obviously you're not going to be using as much products and stuff like that on them,
But
so
lots of women have very short hair.
Well, it depends. It also depends on the actual shop as well.
If I came into you, Dave, I have
I'm a
long
barber.
Yeah, but could I not come into you and?
No, he's a barber, Fiona.
I'm afraid.
This is the last vestige. This is the last temple
This must be wrong. There must be.
And I know we've already checked it. There's no law against this.
No. We're going to hold on to that one with our dear lives. We don't have enough of that. But no, that's genuinely the thing. You know, like we see, for instance, last weekend we took in about 28 fellas for colours from Thursday to Saturday.
28 clients.
Yeah. Just for highlights.
Yeah. Business is okay. How much would that cost, Dave, the barber?
Well, it depends. It depends. As I said, the minimum would be about 28, and it goes up to about 50. It depends. Like there was one guy we said the week before. He got highlights on the top, then a blonde streak through one side, and then a blue streak on the other side. So it's quite,
A blonde streak on one side and a blue streak on the other side.
Yes, yeah, he must work in the bank, does he?
Well, no, he doesn't work in the bank. No, maybe he does.
Happy sad. Will you have fellas coming into you looking for green hair now over the next week?
Yeah, we do. We do shamrocks and stuff like that. Generally, it's just kind of shave the shamrock in the sides of the head.
Yeah, which always seems like a great idea at the time.
At the time, of course. But what we do then, we get a little Q-tip and paint it in green with the food colouring.
Good idea.
And then you have the other side of it, where a guy last year came in and he shaved his head, bar just a big shamrock on the top. And then we painted him with a special dye on the top as well.
So he did a little kind of a hedge grown out at the top of his head.
He would have been a young man, would he, Dave?
He'd be about 17.
All right, yes, where you have an awful lot of responsibility in your life. Dave, where are you? Because you sound like you should be...
In Ballina, County Mayo.
Ballina, County Mayo. And what's the name of the shop?
Murray's Barber Shop. We actually spoke before, Gerry. I done a thing for Telethon a couple of years ago.
Good man.
We broke the world record for so many haircuts in 1 hour.
Fantastic, well done.
And we actually done it with yourself as well. That's come back a good few years ago now.
All right, was that on Secrets, was it?
No, it was for Telethon.
Pay attention.
Yeah, but it could have been part of Telethon.
No, it was actually on Telethon itself.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you very much. Good
well
morning.
done, very good. That's Dave Murray's in Ballina. Very impressive there. Yeah, very impressive. Did you learn anything there that could be useful in your private life? No.
No. Apparently spending...
That's a pity.
Spending money on beauty treatments and cosmetics is still very popular because women don't have to, you don't have to admit to that. Like nobody knows.
Didn't Paris Hilton say that it was very important that you continued with depilation and stuff like that in order to maintain personal dignity?
That's in a U2 song, isn't it?
Is it?
Depilation, isolation, isn't it?
No, desolation, I think.
Is it?
Desolation, I think you'll find that.
See, maybe that's where...
my usual cut and blow dry Antonian guys is now only €41. I love the Recession, says Lou.
Yeah, that's quite good because I think it would have been about 60 beforehand, but I'm totally guessing. Other people are pretending to have got special offers that don't actually exist. So this is
that's clever. I like that.
Yeah. So like it's kind of, we're going on a weekend break to Paris and it's only costing us €35 and it's actually costing them €3,500, but they're too embarrassed to admit to it.
Okay, final question, Fiona Looney, now that the item has been completed.
Yes,
have you won anything on Cheltenham?
No, I haven't even seen a race at Cheltenham. I've been really busy and I wouldn't mind having a look at the old Cheltenham thing because I quite like the idea of Cheltenham, but no, I haven't even.
Yeah, we took a punt on something yesterday and the whole office was punt on something else. The whole office was extremely excited. The horse was in second place and then
had you got him on the
first
nose?
place.
Oh right, yeah.
And then it blew up or something. Anyway, whatever happened.
His leg fell off or something.
Didn't work very well. But the bizarre thing is John Riley, researcher and gardener for the G. Ryan Show, who knows, I would say, up until the other day, virtually nothing about horse racing, is now actually winning more money for the G. Ryan Show than Paddy Power and Hector.
Very good. Yeah, just goes to show.
Just goes to show.
Yeah.
Final text, Fiona.
Final text.
Terrific response today, dear. Terrific. Hi, Gerry. My hubby found out my hair cost €120 every 4 to 6 weeks. He nearly had a heart attack. Now I have resorted to leaving any clothes or shoes I buy in the boot of the car and I take them out when he's not around. Quite right.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Recession or no recession, that's good. That's
good
recommended.
Planning.
Do that anyway.
Okay, Fiona Looney was alive and in person in studio. Good morning. Thank you.
Morning.
Well done. Hello.